Good afternoon, Bookfighters. It is Tuesday, February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day. Happy belated Valentine's Day to everybody. And last week I read Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, the first book in the Vampire Chronicles, because I wanted to reread my favorite series. Everybody got, read Lord of the Rings, and I was feeling kind of left out, so I read my favorite series. But to be honest, Interview with the Vampire, the first one in the series, is not one of my favorites. Not to say I don't like it, I do. I really love this book. But of the 10, it's not one that I reread often. So it was kind of nice to be able to go back and kind of ground myself in the story again. Because when you reread the later ones in the series, a lot of other things happen and you kind of miss what started it all. So it was nice to go back and, make myself reread it, because usually I don't by choice. And a lot of that comes from the narrator. The first book is narrated by Louis, and Louis is kind of what you would call now your prototypical vampire, but back when this was written in like 73, 74, it was really one of the first of his kind. So you gotta give him a little slack for being a little overdramatic with the themes and the moping that just get annoying in today's vampires. But even for me, it's just a little bit too much. A lot of the book focuses on Louis being really upset about being a vampire, even though he said yes, whatever. But he gets, really upset, and a lot of, themes about, what it is to be human and good and evil and all kinds of other stuff like that from the vampire's point of view, which had never been done before when this was published. So it is interesting, and I could talk about those kinds of themes and everything, but a lot of them play out throughout the whole series, so I'm not going to talk about them so much in this one, simply because I don't like Louis as much, so they're harder for me to talk about in, as it relates to Louis and his plight through the world. So next week I'm going to read The Vampire Lestat, the second book, which is my favorite of the 10, and a lot of the themes that are prevalent in this one are also prevalent in this one, but I think they're handled better, so I'm going to probably discuss those after I read this one next week. So that's what's going to happen. But what I do want to talk about with this one is kind of my experience reading it, because it's, as you can see, kind of falling to pieces, and it's my favorite copy of a book. I'm very attached to this copy. I've lent it out once to a very close friend, and she actually is the one that put the tape on the bindings because she didn't want to hurt it. But I got this book from, you can take a little flashback. I got this book from a friend who had gotten it from her mom. Her mom didn't want it anymore. Mom gave it to her. She read it, didn't really like it. Brought it to school. I saw it. I was like, oh, I always wanted to read that. And so she gave it to me and was like, here, just take it, whatever. So I read it, and I took it home, and, so the legend begins. And it was just, and then I've had this copy ever since. Never gotten a new copy. Always, every time I reread it, I reread this copy. So this copy is really special to me. And rereading it now, I found myself not so much emotionally attached to the story in it, just more emotionally attached to the book itself, which seems kind of weird, but just, bear with me. But really, like, I was reading it and, kind of just touching it and feeling it in my hands and being really careful with it, because the pages are kind of falling apart and falling out, so it's kind of hard to read, but I would never replace this copy. Never. It's just too special to me. So yeah, so I guess I have questions for you guys this week. Okay, so my question is, do any of you have a book that is that special to you? A physical book, like not just, the story where like you can go out and get any copy of it and it's still like You know, this isn't like a favorite book question. This is like, do you have like a particular copy of a book, a physical book, that you are emotionally attached to? And my second question is, because I got this book used, and I've talked with a couple of friends about used books, so I want to know you guys' opinion. I don't think we've talked about this. How do you feel about used books? Because the friend that I was talking to said that she didn't really like getting used books because when she read them, when she'd read her books, she would put so much of, you know, herself out while she was reading them, and kind of open and vulnerable while she was reading them, especially if they were like really emotional books. And that when she got used books, she always kind of felt like she was invading someone's privacy, because she always did that emotional experience while reading them, and always kind of felt that other people were doing that too, and then by reading a used book, she was kind of encroaching upon their space. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys feel that way? Do you guys not feel that way? Personally, I'm in favor of used books. It doesn't really bother me. I like that kind of feeling. I don't feel like it's a violation of privacy. I feel kind of like, you know, making friends with a stranger kind of thing. I don't know. And kind of weird questions from me today. But that's what we do. So those are my questions to you. I believe I have a question to answer Katie's question. How do you think we're doing? Really, just as far as this channel goes, I am so beyond, like, just impressed with us. Like, when we started this, I never thought that it would be going this well. Like, I think we're doing really good for what we decided to do. Like Dan said, it was a really ambitious project, and just kind of for none of us really having done anything like this before, I think it's going really well. And I think our 98 subscribers would agree that we are doing pretty well. Do you guys realize that? I looked on the page. We have 98 subscribers. That's 2 away from 100 subscribers. Do you get... mind blown. So yeah, maybe by the time this goes up, we'll have 100. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe after it goes up, we'll have 100 people watching, not subscribed. I don't know why. Whatever. Not meant to, you know, apply for subscribers. Just being excited. But yeah, no, this just... I'm so glad that we did this, and I think it's going really well, and I'm really looking forward to the second half of the year, and you know, when we get back to July, I hope that, you know, whatever we decide to do with our channel, you know, we can all stay friends and, you know, keep in touch, and, you know, all kinds of other sappy crap like that. But we'll get there when we get there. So as of right now, I think we're doing really great, and I love working with you guys every week. It's a pleasure. So yeah, I don't believe there were any other questions except mine for Dan. Do I not get to know about Tim? Is it a secret? I was being serious. Like, thank you for indulging me with the Japanese. It started my week off fantastically. I laughed hysterically because thank you. You're so wonderful. But Tim, I did cliffhanger. I was really being serious. I was very attached to Tim, and now I don't know what to do. I did get, yeah. Okay, so I will not see Sarah tomorrow. My sad face. So I will see Katie on Thursday, and the rest of you I will see next Tuesday. Fairly well, Bookfighters.